Good morning. Hope everybody's having a well-rested day. Let's go ahead and get this party started. Dow futures currently are up 0.09%. S&P futures unchanged. NASDAQ futures down 0.23%. Stock futures are little changed after S&P closes at new record high. Good morning, Lady T. For Europe, we have all green. Europe stocks swing back into green as investors digest U.S. inflation, United Kingdom GDP, Zalando up 15%. The DAX is up last reported up 0.04%. FTSE up 0.11%. CAC up 0.57%. FTSE Milano up 0.59%. And Stock 600 up 0.22%. Asia was mixed after U.S. stocks jump on inflation data. Hello, Johnny Goodwin. ASX 200 up 0.22%. Nikkei down 0.26%. Kospi up 0.44%. HSI, which is Hong Kong, up down 0.07%. And Shanghai down 0.40%. Last reported, technically everything is unchanged because the market is about to click open, but we got the Russell 2K down 0.02%. We also have the VIX down slightly, 0.72% to 1374. We've been seeing it kind of fluctuate a little bit over time, especially over the past couple weeks because we have earnings. We only have two things reporting for a Forex factory calendar. At 10:30, it's the crude oil inventories. That is a yellow folder. And then the only red folder is at 1:01 p.m., which is the 30-year bond auction. Good morning, Tamar. Good morning, Janae. We also have for investing.com, they always have a longer list. There goes the morning bell. We have the at 7 o'clock, there was the NBA 30-year mortgage rate, the NBA mortgage applications week over week, the NBA purchase index, market index, and refinance index. Those are all 1 stars. So at 10:30, we have 3 stars, crude oil inventory. Also, the EIA refinery crude runs week over week, the crude oil imports, both of those are 1 star. Still at 10:30, the Cushing crude oil inventories, that's 2 stars. Then we have the distillate future production, the EIA weekly distillate stocks, gasoline production, heating oil stockpiles, EIA weekly refinery utilization rates week over week, and the gasoline inventories, all at 10:30. Those are all 1 stars after Cushing crude oil inventories. At 11 o'clock, Thomson Reuters Ipsos PCSI for March, 1 star, and then 3 stars, 1 o'clock for the 30-year bond auction. So at the very least, we have an agreement between the 30-year bond auction and 3 stars and the red folder on the other site. So that 1 o'clock time frame is definitely going to be something to pay attention to. We also have the red folder here at the 10:30. So I heard a click, so our listener must have popped online. The red folder is part of that 10 o'clock turnaround. So I would say 10:30 and 1 o'clock. We definitely gotta be careful. Good morning, Sizzling. Good morning, Alyssa. Um, so we have to keep two at two different points today. We got something going on that we definitely gonna have to be watchful of. All right. We got for Mancini yesterday. The CPI plan was simple in SPX as long as 5114 holds. Rallied to 5163, 5181 to 83. We held 5114 twice, rallied to 5180 high. Now we are basing. Plan today, messy chop likely. 5168.75 is support. As long as we're above 5187, 5207 through 11 is live. If 5168 fails, we dip to 5154 first. So I'm gonna put 5168 on my calendar for Mancini. Man, just to be on the safe side. Do 5168. Boom, boom, boom. So we'll do it this way. And I am putting this on my calendar. So I'll know that color basically is just a random color for the level. So I'll know where Mancini was saying the point of breaking is. It just happens to be, though, on the 15-minute chart. I just happen to have that chart open. This happens to be a level where it turned around anyway on the last trading session. But we'll come back to that in a second. But we at least have 5168 on there. And I'm going to add the show price on the right. This is Thinkorswim that I am using. All right. So you want to make sure if you are using Mancini numbers, that 5168 is the main number. 5154 at the bottom is where it'll hit first. But the highest number at the top that I saw was 5211. So that'll be the general ranges, you could say. In terms of earnings before market open, we did go over this yesterday, but Dollar Tree, Zim, Arcos, Dorados, Petco, Village Farms, Williams, Sonoma, Vera Bradley, ADC Therapeutics, Silence Therapeutics, GBLI. And then after close today, UiPath, Sentinel One, Lennar, ESS Incorporated, Vroom, Grow Generation, Valco Energy, FTC Solar, Anico, Coin Pharmaceuticals. If you notice, there's a bunch of pharmaceuticals. So that's XLV, which is healthcare, to be aware of. Also, here we go again. Before open for tomorrow is Dollar General, Dick's Sporting Goods, Futu, Canadian Solar. We've been seeing solar in here as well. Build-A-Bear Workshop, G3, Autolus, Weibo, Go Health, Solo Brands. That's all for before open tomorrow. And then after close tomorrow is Adobe Blink, Ulta Beauty, PagerDuty, Smartsheet, Rigetti, Copen, Wheaton, Freesia, and VaxArt. Just looking at this all generally for today and tomorrow, you definitely are looking at, if you look at the sector ETFs, there's some XLV sprinkled in here, which is healthcare. There's XLK sprinkled in here, which is tech. There's XLP which is consumer staples. To me, well, you can say, yeah, I'll say consumer staples for like Dollar Tree and Dollar General. Dick's Sporting Goods might be considered consumer discretionary. Build-A-Bear probably is consumer discretionary, but you got a bunch of stuff sprinkled through here. So you definitely will have to be careful if you're trading. For example, tomorrow, if you are doing XLK, Adobe is in there. I believe Blink and PagerDuty are in there. So that may or may not have some impact on SOXL, for example. So you definitely want to tread lightly on in those areas. That's one of the reasons I use the sector ETFs, because it can give a very general market look. I'm assuming since our listeners here, she wants to do the calendar, so I'll turn it over to her. Ma'am, you got the mic. Actually, she's on here twice. So we'll keep it moving. We got the options 411 for newbies challenge day 1 is starting today. It'll be today, tomorrow, and Friday. So we got the 3-day challenge popping off. $97. You can register at educator2trader.com. Feel free to check that out. I definitely think that any type of challenge that's going to grow your skill set is going to be worth it. Is going to be worth it. So this particular calendar can or should be posted already in the Telegram groups. So if you're part of the Telegram group, you should already have this access to this calendar. Hello, Michelle. Hello, B. Spencer. Lady T. Hope everybody is having a good morning thus far. If you want to jumpstart your profit-making journey, I will again say that the challenge is a good way to get started with that. So that's the options 401 challenge for newbies for the next 3 days. All right. Let's take a look at what's going on with the 15-minute and see. I'm going to change this to what it has done so far. Going to switch this. We have not done any. It hasn't been 15 minutes quite yet, but we can still mark where it has been so far today. And we can give that a little bit of time. Hello, Lisa Henry. If anybody has any tickers that they want to drop in the box, please do so before we break camp. As of right now, price is starting to hit that 51.68 zone. It is creeping on through there. So we're going to see what happens over the next few minutes. All right. Open this up so you can see it. And we'll do that. So this is dropping below slightly the 51.68, but it is bouncing off this zone. So we'll see how this turns out. We're going to switch this. Let me just switch this to 4-hour real quick just to take a look. So the zone would be down here for 51.37. Might be a spot where it would bounce. 51.57. All right. There's a couple zones, so we'll be looking. All right. I do not see any tickers that are in the box. So while we are waiting for this 15-minute to do something, let's switch over real quick and look at some of the sector ETFs since they are being affected by the earnings. So let me show you this real quick. If you haven't used it before, finance.yahoo.com is a great place to get information on any type of stock ticker. So let's say we'll just use random XLV, which is one of the ones we'll chart in a second. But you can come here and you can get some really good information, some good basic information. Not just the bid ask spread, but the range, the 52-week range, the volume, things like that. You can also find out the historical data, where it is open and closed. All I did was click on historical data right there. You can do this exact same thing if you want to look at any type of dividend stocks. Then all you would do is what I do anyway is I change my time period to max. I say dividends only. This one I don't think pays dividends, but I'll use it as an example. And so when I hit monthly, so it does pay dividends. I didn't know that. So XLV pays almost 60 cents in dividends this last. So quarterly, this last quarter paid 59 cents. Again, this is not investment advice. I'm just using this as an example of how you can find information about any stock, specifically if you're looking for dividends, but just overall general information. So this is a good place to go to. But also, if you click on profile, you can get some good details on some of the stocks. On the ETFs, the profile section may not be that great because it's not going to give you who's holding. It's not going to give you like the background, since the ETFs are not made up of one specific company, is another way of saying it. You won't see the same type of details. It'll just tell you that it's all stocks right here. However, and the reason why I brought you over here is because when you look at let's go to earnings. Let's grab one of these. We'll grab Blink, let's do BLNK. When you grab something like Blink, right? That's Blink charging. Blink charging is going to be in the same space as ChargePoint. As an example, we can do the same historical data, but if you go to profile, one of the key things to look at when you scroll down is going to tell you this part right here, industrial sector. Well, the industrial sector is telling you that the sector ETF that I mentioned, XLI, this one right here, right? So if I'm trading Blink, I can always look at XLI because it's in that sector, and it's going to show me, the general sector that Blink is in by just going to this sector ETF. Right. And the majority of the ones that I've seen on finance.yahoo.com, they all seem to fit into one of those sectors. BLNK is Blink. So I'm going to click on that. So just talking about it. Okay. So this is what Blink is looking like right now. And I just grabbed that as a random example because it's currently has earnings. Right now it's trending to the side, basing, trading sideways. So if I was charting this right now, as an example, on the daily chart, I'll be marking it here and here. And I would have to choose between these two, probably here and here. Leg in. I don't like this base here, but leg out would be gap down a little bit. And then there's two of them you can do here, leg in, base, leg out, or you can do this one that's a little bit closer. But right now it's kind of choppy. Now, how do I process this information? By looking at this latest, few months. This is basing right now, but XLI is on the run up. So that means that Blink is trading lower. It's basically lower than what the overall sector is doing. So that's information that you could possibly use to your advantage down the line. Is comparing. You can do the same thing with, let's say, Apple and XLK, because Apple is tech stock, for example. Utilities and energy, as an example. Good morning, Karen C. So those are just examples of how you can use the sectors, and really how I use it. I'll just say how I use the sectors, but it can kind of give me a gauge on how that stock is doing in comparison to its competitors in the market. I see a few tickers. I hear the click again, so our listener must be back. We got Google, Intel, XLE. Let's hit these real quick. Goog. There is a difference between Google and GOO. There's a difference between GOOGL and GOOG on the charts. Just be aware of that. By looking at the numbers, you may not be able to tell the difference, but I can assure you that I was in the trade. I was in one, and the trade was off by not that much, but it was a breach. And somebody else was in the other one, and theirs was a good trade, and the numbers were not that far from each other. So just be aware that those two are close in proximity. This just broke past. This is really in a sell zone right here. It's breaking through a sell zone. It's a cheer. This is a cheer formation. Right here, leg in, base, leg out. So I'm gonna mark that like so. Leg in, base, leg out. So this is coming up through this cheer. And then there's also a gap down right there. Right, so we have a gap down. This was a cheer formation. This is coming up. Looks like it's heading towards trying to rise on up. If we're looking for, I would say the seller zone might be a tad bit unclear. There's no large leg out, I guess you could say, for the sell zone. If I was going to do anything, I would be doing that. This is leg in, two in the base, leg out. But that's how I will have that charted. Leg in, two in the base, leg out is coming through an old chair. Looks like it could be headed towards a gap. And then the seller zone is up here. So there's definitely opportunity. Depending on what your temperament is, since this is heading up, this very well could come up here and turn around. So some people may want to do the call credit spread up here to take advantage of the premiums. But if you're like me and you're more so chicken little, you're more likely to look at something down here first and get that PCS going first and worry about that later. But that's what I have. Seller zone, leg in, base, leg out, a gap, and then buyer zone, leg in, base, leg out, with it breaking through. So it'll be interesting to watch this and see if it'll retest in this zone and continue to head up, or turn back around in here and head back down. But it looked like it's pushing up pretty strong. So I don't see any questions about that. So let us keep it rocking. XLE is energy. is the energy ETF. Now this one is getting closer to its highs. On the monthly chart, though, it is in a seller zone currently. That's what this is right here. Leg in, base, leg out. So we have it around $89. It is breaking through that seller zone up there. This is a nice formation right here. Very strong formation on the weekly. Leg in, base, leg out right there. So definitely, and there's another zone on the weekly right next to that one. So you have two of them that are closer together. In the buyer zone formation at 83 down here. So we got some things to look at. All right. I see a couple things actually. Right off the top, I see a gap right here. This is at 89. Looks like 89.10. So I see a gap here. Let's mark that. And get that in there. So we got the gap going here. And also, we might as well mark this cheer, leg in, base, leg out. This cheer is right here. This candle right there is in the base. I'm going to put that as green because we're on the daily chart. Right? Matter of fact, I'll do it this way. So you can see that there's, right? So leg in, base, gap up right here. So that's a strong leg out. And then it looks like higher up. So this just went through, this just closed this gap because a gap had formed here. So we closed that and looks like it's heading on up to here. So I have leg in, two in the base, leg out. This would be considered a stronger formation, right? Leg in, two in the base, leg out. This is on the daily chart. From what I could tell, I can't see why that thing wouldn't keep moving on up. It might bounce pretty soon at 90 and 63 cents, but I don't see why it couldn't go to the seller zone. But also, some of the energy companies are reporting as well, so that could be a catalyst for it pushing up. But just in terms of straight formations, this date over here is the October 19th of 23. That's where this is in the seller zone. And then this over here is the most recent three trading days. Okay. So if anybody got any questions on that, can drop them in the chat box and we'll head back over to them. This is INTC. Well, before I do INTC, let me swing back over to SPX because we have at least hit one 15-minute chunk of time. So let's see what we got. Okay, so if you're trading the breakout, what has happened so far is this should be a different color. So what we got so far is this one right here, 5168, was Mancini's number, where if it broke past that, it was gonna, it could keep dropping to 51, 54. So what's happening right now is for the first 15 minutes, it has not broken out all the way yet. It is stopping in that zone that Mancini talked about. Obviously, the buyers are down here trying to push their way back up. So there has not been an official breakout yet. It's just kind of hanging out. So this is one to watch because it hasn't fully made a decision yet. I'm not surprised that it's getting caught up here because this was a turnaround point before. So this will be definitely one to see what'll happen and keep an eye on. Okay. So I definitely would not jump in there yet. All right. We'll take a look at Intel. And let's look at monthly first. Intel keeps dropping the ball, man. Every time you look around, they doing something else to shoot themselves in the foot. Okay, so Intel just had a recent high that it has turned around on. So recently, well, overall, it's on a recent upswing. Let's say since October of last year, but the last couple months, it has been actually no. This is October of 22. October of last year would be in here. So past 2 years overall upswing, but the last few months it has been on a bit of a downswing. Its overall trajectory looks like it's trying to point up. It is in the tech sector. So since you have it in the tech sector, there's a chance that it could move on up like the Jeffersons. All right. I don't really see a zone that looks all that great outside of up here. Right here. This is a seller zone, leg in, base, leg out, right up here on the monthly. But I really don't see anything that's all that definitive. The weekly has a nice one up here. I guess technically this would be one as well. It's ugly, but it is a formation. The last few weeks, though, it has kind of been giving us that choppy look right here. So I would not get my hopes up on the daily chart, but leg in, base, leg out right here. And leg in, base, leg out right here. And I believe all of these is considered a revisit. One revisit. So if you do odds enhancers, that means that you don't have to worry about that being multiple visits right there. So that's something to keep in mind right there. That's on the weekly. So let's go to daily. So on the daily chart, again, it's a lot of choppiness with Intel. There's always something going down with Intel. I know I'm probably just said that, but they'll drop the ball on the latest chip, and then they'll end up getting a government contract to do some more stuff. So it does gap down quite a bit. This is what I see for the seller zone. Leg in, base, leg out, right there. And then right here. Leg in, base, leg out. You can do this one as well. Leg in, two in the base, leg out. That would be something to be considered as well. It's a zone on top of a zone, but I like the one that's a little bit lower. But let me. So this is the zone technically that it would be in, and all of this would be one revisit. So this is a lot of risk too. But the formation that I like would be this one and this one. So it's leg in, base, leg out, and leg in, base, leg out. Make that bigger, sorry. So that's how I'll be looking at those two. Let me see here. Add to the broadcast. I have no idea how to do that. All right, we're gonna switch back to. I'm looking to see if there's any questions on that. I don't see any questions. All righty. So that's what we got for that. Let's swing on back over to SPX. Let's see what SPX talking about. And then we're also going to look at Russell 2000 before we break out of here. So on the 15-minute chart for SPX, it is looking like it's trying to break out of there finally. It is 10:04 Eastern right now. So that's what it is doing. I don't know. Well, different people trade this differently. Some people would jump in right now because it looks like that it's starting to drop. Me personally, I would still wait a little bit just to be on the safe side. I probably wouldn't even worry about it for another 10, maybe 15 minutes. Because we have seen recently where it'll come out, but it won't go far. And then it'll start heading back up. And in some cases, it did this, I believe, yesterday or the day before, where it came out a little bit, it didn't go far, and then it came back on in. So if you're doing the PDT hack, you definitely want to be careful about when you get in, because you want it to go far enough for the other side to catch on. So that's going to be muy importante, right? Let me see here. I don't even know what this is. All right. Y'all give me 1 second, please. All right. So for right now, we're going to leave it at it is broken out. One way to look at this also is, since it broke through here, if it bounces off, it could retest and continue down further as well. That's another thing to be looking out for right here. A retest to see what happens. So once again, don't forget the options 411 3-day challenge is starting on today. You can register at educatortotrader.com. It is for beginners, newbies, and it's very good for skill building, things of that nature. There's a newsletter that goes out that gives information, that has given some more information as well. So I would definitely encourage you to join us. Let me check one more before we get out of here. Don't forget to click like if you connected with something that we dropped today, make sure you subscribe as well. We'd appreciate that. Going to take a look at Russell 2000 as well. This will be the last one. Clear the drawing set. This is the monthly. Oh, sorry, no, this is the daily. This is the monthly. So this was a chair looking formation on the monthly seller zone that it is currently breaking through. Man, it has a basing situation happening above it, so this should be interesting. Russell 2000 is the small cap stocks, so that's something to be aware of. But we do have a clear buyer zone down here on the monthly. We have a one here formation for the weekly. Leg in, base, leg out. That's happening right here. And there's a couple things you can do over here, but the one that looks the clearest might be this one. I would do leg in, base, leg out for the first one because there's a gap here for that leg up. It's a small gap. But the ones I really like is this one. There's two, what looks like two cheer formations, but definitely this one would be the one for the weekly. I would choose that. You could do this one too. The leg in is a little weird, but to me, the clearest one would be here. Honestly, if we just going with the most clear one is. Let's look at the daily. See what we got. And this is again Russell 2000. The small cap stocks. All right, so this is daily. And we got, unfortunately, it's a lot of risk happening right there. This is a zone on top of a zone. I'm going to chart this formation here because this is today and it hasn't finished. So I don't consider that leg to be complete yet until it's, to actually finish. But this is a leg in, base, leg out. Weaker formation. So I'm going to put this as the zone that it's in currently. I'm going to mark that with gray as the zone that it's in currently. All right. But the next zone down will be probably right there. And what I like about that zone is that it was a gap right up under it. So that's how I would do that. Duplicate. So it gapped up, came down a little bit. So it's got this gap right here. So not only is this support leg in, base, leg out, but it also has 20, 29 to about $6 of support under it, something like that. But again, this most recent candle hasn't finished, so I'm not including that one in. As of close today, I will consider this to be, a full completed formation with 3 candles. That's how I'll do that. But that is Russell 2000. So let's swing back by SPX. Actually, before we do that, let's go and check some of the results on the Forex calendar real quick and get an update. Today is, oh, that's right. We haven't had, it wasn't this one. It was the other one. Close this one. So this is going to be today's information that we were looking at earlier for investing.com. We just want to see what some of the results are for what has been reported so far. If you notice, many mornings, there's a turnaround at about 10. Some of this information seems to be causing that. So far, for everything for the 7 o'clock time frame, the actual forecast was usually if it's green, it's good for the economy. If it's red, bad for the economy. If it's just, the number is the same, I guess that's considered neutral. So the information that we got earlier was neutral. The next bit of information, the first, I guess you could say main event, is in 16 minutes. That'll be the 3 stars or the red folder. So that's what's happening there. We are going to look at the pre-market one more time. Mixed Dow futures up 0.15%, S&P futures down 0.21%, Nas futures down 0.89%, and then the same with the Dow. Dow Jones Industrial Average is up 0.31%, S&P is down 0.08%, and the Nasdaq is down 0.47%. Russell 2K, which is what we were just looking at, is up 0.47%, and the VIX is unchanged. All right. Going to make our last round to the 15-minute SPX. And what we just talked about a little bit ago is what happened. It broke out. The buyers came in, pushed this up. And so now this is going back into the area where it came out of. So we don't, as of 10:14, 10:15, we don't have a definitive breakout yet over here. So that hasn't happened. That's not to say that won't happen, but since we're about to get that information in about 15 minutes, I'll be looking to see what happens after that and, make some type of decision from there. All right. Believe we have covered everything. Educatedthetrader.com is where you can find the challenge to sign up. You can join the membership as well. I will say that I feel like we do have a great supportive community on multiple levels. We do have live at the open each morning, and every week there is some type of training and or coaching call. So feel free to join this, educatedthetrader.com. All right. So let us go to our E2T daily declaration. By faith, I'm a successful trader. I'm a wise and knowledgeable trader. I make smart and lucrative decisions for my portfolios. Money likes me because money is comfortable around me. It is drawn to me. E2T daily prayer. Lord, give us wisdom and knowledge for our trades today. Help us to make smart and lucrative decisions for our portfolio. All right. Remember to trade with your head on the swivel. Our goal is to stay green and get this money. Again, as I announced earlier, and the banner is showing, today is the day that the challenge starts. So You definitely want to sign up as soon as possible so you can be in the mix. Okay. So get registered as soon as possible. All right. Thank you all for tuning in and joining us. We appreciate it. Don't forget to click like. You got something out of today's broadcast. Also, subscribe so you'll know what else we got going on in YouTube land. All right. Have a good one, and we will see you in the market.